run an organization selflessly, spending time away from your family, from your business. It's a big sacrifice, I can tell you that, and I'm so delighted that you have taken this responsibility. My best wishes and prayers with you. I know you will do a wonderful job and continue this tradition. In fact, I think you will all agree that more than both these young men, Vaishnavi and Shrishti deserve to be complimented. It's as much the sacrifice of the family who really need to let go. And thank you, Srishti, for giving us Abhyuday for the next year. Vaishnavi, you've already gone through that for the year, but proud of you. And I can tell you, Amay, you've made Suresh ji very proud, Usha ji very proud, Uma ji very proud. Both Suresh and Uma are family members and will be delighted at the way this young man has evolved and come of age. रतन जी, आपकी जिम्मेदारी बढ़ जाएगी, एक लड़का अभी बाहर है और मेरा अनुभव है कि जब चेंबर की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी आती है, साधारणतः एक जिम्मेदारी का एहसास के साथ साथ समय भी देना पड़ता है और माइंड स्पेस भी काफी ऑक्यूपाई हो जाता है. तो आपको, दीपिका जी को भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद कि आपने भी ये निर्णय लेने में जरूर अहम भूमिका निभाई होगी. हर्ष जी शायद चले गए हैं. अच्छा, he had a flight to catch. Parthiv, thank you for taking the responsibility as Vice President. Wish you all the best also. And I think this is really wonderful. I have been pleading, and for some of you who are members of CII or FICCI or may have heard me, I've been pleading with all the chambers to get the next generation in, to get the youngsters to take leadership roles. And I'm so very delighted that ICC has taken the lead in that. We've got young team in place. I'm sure the elders will continue to support and guide and encourage them in their work. But young blood will bring new energy, new passion, new ideas. Amay, that was a very impressive report card. 27 countries is more than what I have in my note. In my note, it said 25 countries, 25 nations. So you in 25 countries. Okay. But truly a wonderful effort to take the India story to the rest of the world. Also, I'm glad that you've taken ICC across the country. I remember I've attended many functions of ICC in Kolkata. But despite being one of the oldest chambers, probably 100 years next year? 25. You're starting, almost you'll start the celebrations now for the next 2 years. So this is a great and a very distinct honor that ICC holds, right from pre-independence days, being in the forefront of the independence movement, and Kolkata did play a very important role even in our independence movement. So you really are privileged to be one of the oldest chambers, and I'm delighted that this proactive approach, this proactive governance to become the voice of all the states, all the union territories across the country. You cover, I believe, 35 sectors in the work that you are doing. It's a distinct privilege that members of ICC hold, and with your foray to come into Delhi, to go across the nation, I'm sure you will establish yourself so that in the days and months and years to come, hopefully we will have to start saying CII, FICCI, ASSOCHAM. In many occasions we include PhD chamber and ICC when we are looking at the national chambers. My best wishes to you, Abhyuday, in this journey, and take forward this effort. Take ICC across the country, get more young blood into the team, engage with startups. I had requested all the national chambers, they have now got dedicated teams looking at the startup ecosystem. But somebody has to champion the cause of startups. Let's see, whoever picks up the startup ecosystem first, and we have a startup Mahakumbh coming up in probably February next year. We had one in February 24 also. The first time India demonstrated our strength in startups to the rest of the world, somewhat patterned around the Finnish slush. And I think ours was bigger than slush, and it's going to grow this year, next year even bigger than last year, or bigger than 24 February. So somebody will pioneer the startup ecosystem's leadership as a chamber. The jury is out. I leave it to ICC to consider. And under your stewardship, under your young leadership, I think it's a great opportunity waiting before you. Since you reconfirmed the old adage, there's no free lunch, I think there's no free coffee also. I'll venture to make a few suggestions to Abhyuday. I can do it now, I can do it as we go along. One of the thoughts that comes to mind is the involvement of women entrepreneurs. I think we have yet to see any chamber, and certainly any chamber of substance at the national level, involve more women in their ecosystem. It's not about ICC, it's about the general, I think, resistance to change, or the lack of enough opportunity for our sisters and daughters. And maybe, Abhyuday, you've already brought in young blood. At the next level, you can involve the youngsters amongst women entrepreneurs to become more active. So you will have two firsts as a chamber. And I believe some of our women of substance are really making us proud with the wonderful work they're doing. Rajiv ji will bear me out in the world of art, in the world of culture, in the world of business, all the women-led startups, some of our women innovators. Only a couple of months ago on the flight, I met a lady who was ex-ISRO possibly, and is currently one of the leading nuclear safety experts in the world. I mean, India has talent which very often we don't even know about. I had no clue that an Indian lady would be a world expert on nuclear safety. And she was going to Zurich for engagements with the world community on nuclear safety. So I think it's time we involve them more actively. And I hope the ladies in the room will support Abhyuday in this effort and become more active, take up some responsibilities. While I recognize, Amay, what you said about taking up new age technologies, whether it's artificial intelligence, machine learning, data analytics, sustainability, all of these usually are the work of chambers. And I'm glad that you've aligned yourself with a modern vision. But when we talk of reform, when we talk of transforming India, we all recognize that inclusiveness is also going to define the success story of India. How inclusive we are in our various initiatives to involve 140 crore Indians. Prime Minister Modi in the last 10 years has made a very honest and determined effort, a very sincere effort, to ensure that every child born in India, every family across the length and breadth of India, particularly those at the bottom of the pyramid, are assured of the basic needs that each one of us has: food, clothing, shelter, electricity, all the utilities that one needs, water, electricity, digital connectivity, health, education. And the idea behind that is not only ensuring a decent quality of life for every citizen of India, every child born in India, but ultimately, all of our young population, all of those who have been left behind for one reason or the other over so many years, even 77 years after independence, are going to contribute to the story of Viksit Bharat at 2047. India cannot become a developed nation unless all of India prospers. And more particularly, the eastern and northeastern parts of India, who have been left behind in this journey of progress. Similarly, the large sections of society who did not get the benefit of these basic necessities. Many of us know generations used to pass by where families were only struggling to save a little money so that they can own a home of their own. A gharonda, a simple small home, was the dream and desire of every family. And whatever money used to be collected, if one member of the family, one elder or one child got some illness or had to be treated, all those savings would disappear. So much so you would be in fact in debt. And the dream of a home was lost for another generation. We've seen that. All of us have experienced that. We've seen our domestic help come to us for 10,000, 20,000, 25,000. लोन दे दो हमारे घर में कोई बीमार है या शादी होने वाली है मुझे 50,000 25,000 रुपए चाहिए और फिर वो सालों साल बेचारे काटते रहते थे. What Prime Minister Modi has tried to do is empower 140 crore Indians and now digitally connected. We have nearly 100 crore, 93 crore at last count, 93 crore Indians who are connected to the internet, who are seeing on their phone all that is happening in the rest of the world. They are seeing what life is in New York, in London, in Dubai, in Tokyo, in Sydney. That is aspirational India of today. Each one of them is not aiming for a small or incremental jump in life. They are looking for a big boost. They are looking for all the good things of life for them and their families and their children. And this section of society is the one most deserving of our attention. And maybe Indian Chamber of Commerce can make an extra effort and outreach to these young men and women, to these young children, to see how we can involve them and get them into the mainstream of development in this journey of Viksit Bharat. One of the ways could be the 2 lakh crores the government plans to spend under the PM schemes launched by the Honorable Finance Minister in the last budget. Skill development is an important component of that. Creating job opportunities for young men and women, some of it coming through government support, is an important element of that. And I would think that if we have already seen 1,55,000 young men and women apply for skill sets or apply for apprenticeship as a part of the first launch of the scheme, only in the last 2 or 3 days. But I would think if more and more companies get involved, if the large 35 sector database that is a part of the ICC, or the number of companies who are members of ICC, were to come proactively and see how we can all participate in this national mission to develop the skill sets of young India, we can have a transformational impact in changing the lives and the employability of millions of children who may be graduates, who may have gone through school and college, but may still not be employable for lack of the skill sets peculiar to the job requirements of today. I mean, we all know that a graduate coming out of college also needs to hone their skills, and particularly skills where they have an interest, before they become good assets for all of you in your businesses. So maybe that could be a good way, an inclusive development objective. And within that, taking skill development or taking the lesser privileged sections of society as our target audience or target beneficiary for the work that the ICC will do and continue to do in this year and the years to come. As another suggestion, I hope I'm still within my limit of 3. There's one area, it's a soft skill area. It's an area that we all in this room recognize can have a transformational impact on India's future, and an area which can give jobs to the highest number of people for every rupee invested. Any guesses? मैं ज़्यादा बोल रहा हूँ कि ऑडियंस सुन ही नहीं रही है, क्या बात है? Who said that? Tourism. Agriculture तो देश में है, उल्टे agriculture थोड़ा overload हो रहा है. Children of our farmers want to go into other professions. Now you are finding engineers coming out of farming families. You're finding doctors, you're finding startup entrepreneurs, small business persons. Agriculture is evolving very fast. You're finding grape growers turning into wine growers, winemakers. But tourism is one sector. In a country like Spain, Italy, in fact, for that matter, maybe for religious reasons, but we have no less reason. The Vatican City itself, a city. Singapore, Dubai. Look at the humongous number of tourists, international tourists that go there. China has evolved as a tourist destination in the last 30 years. India, with all the rich art and culture, with all the wonderful opportunities to develop tourism, every single type of climate, our indigenous people, our tribal communities, the forests, the wildlife sanctuaries, we have everything it takes to develop India as an international tourist destination. I picked up France and Italy because we have representatives of both countries here. I mean, it's enviable what France and Italy have been able to do in terms of tourism. On our part, we are trying to create the necessary infrastructure to support tourism. And we all appreciate we can't develop tourism without good connectivity, without good airports, without good highways, without good facilities at all our World Heritage sites. There's tremendous opportunity, effort is going in. We have doubled our international tourists in the last 10 years. But can we be satisfied with that pace of growth? Or can those 27 offices in 25 countries take it upon themselves to promote and take the message and the opportunities both to develop tourism and its facilities, and then to enjoy as tourists those facilities for people from all these countries to come to India? And I think it's time we developed high-value tourism in India. Getting the people who really can spend high dollar values during their stay in India. Let me give you an example. All of us and many of us would be having collaborations, would be having friends across the world. All of you are YPOs. Do we have a YPO program coming up soon, or is it happening or no? We had to have an international conference and it didn't happen? Yeah. Okay. So, well, whatever. The point I'm trying to make is with all our international connections, can we encourage all these friends to have their board meeting in India? Just a thought. Suppose they were to all have their board meeting in India and their board members were to come to India. Believe me, many people in the world don't even know the way India has evolved in the last 10, 15, 20 years. How India of today is very different from the India of 2014 or even earlier. The transformation that has happened in this country, the reform that has happened, the amount of new initiatives that are happening literally, and people who come to India regularly say that every visit to Mumbai, they find it is difficult to recognize Mumbai. One visit, an Atal Setu 22-kilometer bridge connecting the island city to the mainland has started. Another visit, we have a coastal road which is now going to extend all the way up to Bhayandar, the northern end of Mumbai, and thereby creating a ring road around Mumbai. We have the largest rollout of metro happening in Mumbai compared to any other city in the world. I'm taking Mumbai as an example because Amay and I both come from Mumbai. And sadly, Delhi, other than the infrastructure projects that the central government has taken up, hasn't had the benefit of too many projects by the state government in the last few years. And therefore, I'm picking on Mumbai because truly the people who come to India today, who visit Uttar Pradesh or who see the quality of super expressways coming up in India, who see the quality of airports. And when I landed in New York on the maybe 30th of last month, my first feeling was we need a reset of infrastructure in the US. And I mentioned it to my counterpart, minister. I said, look, I can visualize that America, who developed all their infrastructure post the Great Depression, 70, 80 years later, now needs to recreate infrastructure all over again. And there's a big business opportunity for India in that. Indians can provide the necessary wherewithal, the people, to help countries like the US develop infrastructure all over again. Australia needs 1 million homes. 1 million homes translates to a 300, 400, 500 billion dollar opportunity. 1 million homes is the shortage in Australia. At last count, the world estimate is that 600,000 nurses and caregivers are required across the world. Japan alone needs 100,000 caregivers. Condition, they should know Japanese. Can we take it upon ourselves to develop language skills? Just develop language skills. Imagine the number of people who can get an opportunity either as tourist guides, interpreters, tour operators, or can go out of the country and serve other nations. Friends, the opportunities to participate in this journey in the Amrit Kal towards Viksit Bharat 2047 are huge and immense. Pick up 2 or 3 initiatives. Make that your mission of the chamber. Relentlessly pursue that target. Set very high goals. CII and the Apparel Skill Development Council set up a skill development center in Kandivali, which falls in my constituency in North Mumbai. Start to finish, from my first meeting till the inauguration, they did it in 44 days. Nobody in the area could believe this could happen, but they did it. Once they made it a commitment that they will do it, they did it. They also set up a job center there. I didn't even know they were doing it. The job center was their own offering. 12 companies signed up. In the first 6 days, 700 children and a few elders, I think mostly they were young men and women. I saw 3 or 4 little elderly people. 700 people got a job letter in the first 6 days. Jobs are available. There is demand, but the connect is missing. As a chamber, we can help create that connect. And wherever required, they have a skill development center at the same place. So as they are getting the feedback that people want certain skill sets, they'll be provided there and there itself. So ITC has set up a hospitality center there. And I visited, there was a housekeeping section, a proper hotel room, all done in 44 days. There was a front office they had created. There was a back office for all the kitchen work and the training of chefs and all of that. The Apparel Skill Development Council had set up a training center in collaboration with a Singapore university, which Saktivel, the chief of that, and I had visited when? Maybe a month and a half ago. Probably less than that, I don't remember, on a Sunday. And they've already imported AI-enabled sewing machines. The first of its kind. They were launched only a month and a half ago. We had them in Mumbai. India doesn't follow the world. We'll be ahead of the curve now. We'll lead the world in the future. That is the India we want all of you to engage with and enter into. That is the India we should present to the world through your international offices and your outreach program. And I think if all of us can be a part of these kind of initiatives, then what Ajay Banga, the Indian who now is the president of the World Bank, said, the shiniest part of the world driven by India's domestic market. That's the India story. It shines bright like a diamond, driven by the demand that 140 crore Indians generate. That's the India story the world is watching. It's for us to capture the moment. It's for us to seize the initiative. And if we reform, perform, and transform, the mantra that Prime Minister Modi often articulates, I think it's incumbent on all of us sitting in this room and those beyond to also inform the world about the India story, what's happening in the country. And if as a chamber we can take the message of India to the rest of the world, if we can take the trends, the emerging mega trends of India, the new technology initiatives, the powerhouse on clean energy that India will become in the next decade, our own foray with technology, with AI, with machine learning, with data analytics, our own effort to expand the GDP, which is already the 5th largest in the world, to become the 3rd largest in the next 3 years. So Modi's 3rd term, 3 times more energy, 3 times more effort, 3 times more commitment, 3 times more work, so that the outcomes are 3 times larger, 3 times better. That's the India that we are all entering into. And that's the India where you have a listening government. I'm surprised somebody here said, or you said, that you are happy with me. मुझे तो डर लगता है मैं हर इंडस्ट्री एंगेजमेंट में डांट देता हूं इंडस्ट्री को, तो लोग तो मेरे से नाराज होने चाहिए, पर प्यार से डांटता हूं क्योंकि मैं अपने आप को आपका अपना समझता हूं और आप मेरे हैं. और कभी कुछ ज्यादा बोल भी दूं तो वो एक अपनेपन की भावना से, उस भावना से है कि कितना कुछ करना है हमने. वो हर व्यक्ति जो आज भी गरीबी रेखा के नीचे है उसको उठाना है. वो हर व्यक्ति जो निम्न मध्यम वर्ग या the lower middle class, the emerging middle class, the new middle class, उन सब बच्चों को अच्छी अपॉर्चुनिटीज दिलानी है. ये हम सबका कलेक्टिव कमिटमेंट होना पड़ेगा. ये सिर्फ सरकार का काम नहीं हो सकता. जब हम सब मिलके इस भावना से, इस तेज से, इस उत्साह के साथ अगर देश के निर्माण के कार्य में जुट जाए और हर एक व्यक्ति अपने जीवन का थोड़ा हिस्सा देश को समर्पित कर दे। थोड़ा हिस्सा, बहुत ज्यादा भी नहीं मांग रहे आपसे, सिर्फ थोड़ा हिस्सा, जैसे अमय ने किया या अभ्युदय और पार्थिव और राजीव कर रहे हैं और कई लोग अलग अलग संस्थाओं के माध्यम से करते हैं। अगर हर एक व्यक्ति अपने जीवन का थोड़ा हिस्सा भी देश को समर्पित कर दे तो मैं आपको विश्वास दिला सकता हूं अद्भुत परिणाम हो सकते हैं। टुगेदर we as government will be always open to your ideas. We will be a listening government. Those who have engaged with Prime Minister Modi know that in every hour of his life, he listens 55 minutes, speaks 5 minutes. But those 5 minutes are pearls of wisdom that he shares and encourages his colleagues, encourages the nation to do more. He's a perfect example of management principles. Listens more, गणपति जी की तरह सुनते ज्यादा है, बोलते कम है, और मुझे भी शिक्षा देते रहते हैं कि तुम कम बोला करो और ज्यादा सुना करो। तो उस भावना में मैं अपनी बात को विराम देता हूं। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। Congratulations अभ्युदय, well done अमय, and thank you Vaishali and Srishti for your sacrifices. Good luck Parthiv. Thank you very much.
Sir, it's always highly motivating and inspirational whenever we hear you. And I think ICC is truly committed to follow your agenda, your advice. And we can assure you that when we present our report card next year to you, you'll be happy that Mr. Jindal has not only achieved all that, but exceeded. And you rightly mentioned, because whenever you have been a little tough on us, I think you have always been on quality. Quality has been one of your core theme. You have always encouraged us that focus on the quality. And your guidance has always been on competitiveness so that industry is able to compete globally. May I now request Mr. Jindal to please propose a vote of thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Singh. And sir, I assure you that all your points that you have mentioned, we will definitely take it forward. The work has already started. So I was talking to Dr. Singh today. Skill development is definitely a big agenda for us. In February this year, we have a big tourism meet that is happening. And in Feb or March, we're also planning a global investors meet where all representatives of our 25 countries will come, bring in investors, and we'll add a flavor of tourism with it. So already the work is started, and I hope we can achieve it. My honored guests and fellow members of Indian Chamber